Welcome back, everybody, to another League of Inches podcast, Supercoach episode. Myself and Jesse once again for the ride. I'm so out of whack with this. Obviously, the games yesterday finished up. It feels like it's a Monday. We're talking about team list Tuesday already. I actually had a mental blank and forgot I had to do the team list post this afternoon, and it was actually team list Tuesday. So I rushed back, got things done. Been a bit under the weather over the weekend as well, so everything was a bit of a blur. And then I woke up this morning, looked at my Supercoach score, and just thought I'd get hopefully maybe a bit more of an increase, updates and stuff, and it was a bit of a harsh one. So I'm a bit down in the dumps today. It's my turn to be. Jesse, on the other hand, the champ has risen. I feel like I've poked the bear a little bit the last week or two, and he's coming at a rapid rate at the moment. So Jesse, you look like you're on cloud nine this week.
Oh, well, you know what? I had a week off work. Me and the wife, we went away, got away from the kids for a few days and had just time to chill out, relax, try and settle away from the super coach side of things. Started pretty slumpy and then didn't watch any games this week either. Just had a look at my scores, won almost all my head to heads, highest score that I've posted so far. So maybe that's the trick. Maybe just stop looking.
Don't give a shit.
Yeah, that's it. No, it was
it's
it was good. It's a good break.
It's a tough one because my classic wasn't good, but my three draft teams actually won on the weekend. So draft league, I'm flying, and it's my first time playing draft. So
Yeah.
beginner's luck, I'll take it at the moment. But yeah, classic for mine was a bit of a letdown. I was going to ask you who's your sort of your player of the weekend when it comes to Supercoach. I sort of have a weird one, and it's Nico Hines for mine. Just because he was under a lot of pressure, I ended up keeping him for my team just because I had to prioritize some other stuff after the shit show that last week was, and I wasn't happy about it. But you know what? He came out and ended up scoring pretty decently, considering I still thought he was
Mm.
pretty average on the weekend, and so were the Sharks. Even though, yep, they did win, they did score some points. I don't think Nico was very good at all, and to rack up, I think it was a 90 odd he ended up getting. I was chuffed with it. He obviously wasn't the high scorer of the week, but for me, it was just the fact that I was forced to keep him, forced to have him on the team and play him. A lot of people thinking, "Oh, geez, forced to play Nico, boohoo!" But like, it was just
What a
I
shame.
felt like I really wanted to get rid of him, and I couldn't. And to come away with a 90, I wish I captained him in the end. My captaincy option just was so poor. Dill Brown, hate your guts at the moment, but anyway, Jesse, you got one?
Yeah, I'm gonna say Kalen Ponga. Obviously, he's been on a lot of scrutiny this season so far. Hasn't been really lighting the world on fire. Um, Look, a couple of bad calls here and there. Things that cut away a lot of points for him, that you wouldn't put him in the discussion for being a bit of a dud. But he had a really good bounce back. Got 117. So many people up in arms about it too, because Tuivasa-Sheck looked like he was dominating, and just nothing translated to points. Where yeah, it seemed like everything Ponga touched turned into line breaks. So yeah, really, really nice bounce back week for him. Not a great deal of attacking stats, really, considering the score that he got. But yeah, no, it was really good. No intention of obviously trading him on. I don't think you have him anymore, do you?
No. I
No.
traded him for
So
Teddy, which was a master
yeah,
stroke last week.
last
This
week,
week,
yeah,
not so much.
not so much. So I think, well, the thing is, like Pong actually had a price increase for the first time now as well. So only almost 3K, but Um, yeah, things looks like they're starting to come back around for him. So I'm going to give it to him this week. It was really good. Good to see it.
Yeah, thanks, KP. Thanks, Newcastle, for the changes. Coggers freed him up a little bit. It's a funny game, isn't it? Because as you said, Roger Tuivasa-Sheck got our 3 points in our 3-2-1s on the weekend that we do for the page, and Ponga wasn't in the case. I think he may have maybe got the 1 point for. I think Jez gave him the 1 point, but um, it just shows you how different it is when you talk about Supercoach and actual real life rugby league and bagging players out, things like that. So just pretty cool. It's really interesting to see that because, as you said, like Roger was everywhere. It felt like he was so busy, he just couldn't produce, and I was so excited to have him playing fullback. But yeah, it wasn't to be. But why don't we get into it? It's the
Yep.
first game of round 5 is the Melbourne Storm versus the Brisbane Broncos. And you know what, guys? Jesse's complained about always having the nuff games, always having the shitty teams. So we're switching it up. I'm giving him the reins. He can have the first game.
You're too nice, man. So
Try to be.
yeah, First game, Storm Broncos. So expecting, massive things for Melbourne. A couple of changes. Cameron Munster's back. It's
Ooh.
huge. It's massive considering, only a couple of weeks ago we were wondering if he was actually going to be back this season. So Munster's back in. Jerome Hughes is back in too. So yeah, almost full strength. Christian Welsh on the bench. A few people drop out. Wishart's on the bench. Pezzett's gone. Kane Bradley's out, and the big one for super coaches, Joe Chan, still nowhere to be seen. So, yeah, it's Melbourne look like they're getting back into the full swing now. Besides that, everything else is the same. Sean Bloor keeps the edge spot. For the Broncos, what have we got going on for them? Ben Takura on the bench, unchanged as far as the team goes outside of that, but big boy Ben Takura, a lot of talks about him during preseason and that kind of thing. Finally get to see him right now at the expense of Willison. So I'm not too sure what happened to Willison now. I don't know why he's actually been dropped out because he's completely out of the side. Um, not too sure there. Maybe he got a knock or something, but I haven't seen much about it. But as far as that goes, Tristan Saylor's still at fullback. Reece Walsh is probably still a couple of weeks away, but everything else as expected from last week. So yeah,
It's
looks
a
like
it's a weird one. I
for a pretty
think
good game.
with it feels like coaches have this thing at the moment this year and sort of the back half of last year, especially with their young forwards. They want to make sure they have consistent footy under their in their system, basically. So if like 1 week or 2 weeks Wilson's playing a 10, 15 minute stint at first grade, then it's more than likely that week after they'll want him to try and really push some quality minutes out in reserve grade and then maybe come back and they sort of just mix up that one like young guy on the bench. And
Mm,
maybe that's now Takira's time to have a couple of stints where he's playing um he's yeah, he's sort of playing his sort of little stints, getting some taste of first grade without the real big pressure and going
yeah.
from that. I just want to ask you quickly with the Storm,
Yep.
and now I know you have mentioned a few times this would be the guy you'd look at maybe trading out either Hines or Cleary for, and we'll get back to that later in this show. But Jerome Hughes, the fact that Munster is back now, does that impact Hughes in a negative or a positive way when it comes to Supercoach?
Oh, it's tricky, man. In the past, it's usually one or the other that kind of takes the reign. That I've seen for points anyway. Obviously, during the game, they both do their part and they do a really, really good. They're an excellent pair up. To be fair, like there isn't that many quality 5-8 halves combos where they're both equally as dominant as far as the game goes. But I think as far as it runs stat wise, I would say it probably hinders Hughes a bit. um, he doesn't have to do as much. When he's got Wishart or Pezzett or someone kicking about, you kind of expect Hughes to do everything. And when
Yeah.
he's the only person there, so Origin and that kind of stuff, you usually see Hughes put out some massive numbers, but then the rest of it can be pretty inconsistent. Now with Munster back, and it just depends too. Like I'm going to be pretty much keeping my eye on Munster for every second he gets the ball because I've got pretty quick intentions of getting him in my side. Um, Providing that he looks good, you know what I mean? Like he was only saying a couple weeks ago, he wakes up one day, he can barely run, and then the next day he feels fine again. So whether or not, he wakes up on Thursday and he feels like he can run, it'll be a whole different thing. And if he can't, maybe Jerome Hughes does a bit more. But um, yeah, it just have to see what condition Hughes is in. Munster, sorry. But I wouldn't think that Melbourne would put him back in there if they weren't confident that this mystery injury was either gone or manageable. So um, yeah, it's just hard. Like with the thinness at half at the moment too. I do like Hughes as an alternative, but yeah, now that Munster's back in, just have to see how much he's actually doing himself. But he's been really good the first opening rounds.
Yeah, it's interesting. I saw on NRL 360 tonight, Braith was asked about Munster obviously being his manager, and he's sort of like, in a way, it was sort of like when you bust your kid doing something they know they shouldn't be, and they're trying to lie their sort of way out of things. And he sort of wasn't saying yes, wasn't saying no, but sort of if you're reading his mind, I had to put something on what he was trying to say of it. I don't know if Munster's 100% still. Like, they've named him,
Yeah,
um, but I think it's more so because if again, like, if he just comes to the day and he's feeling good, he'll play. If he's not, I don't think they'll take any risk. So if he's
yeah,
95%, I don't think they'll play him. He needs to be 100%. So just keep an eye on that. Obviously, I don't think he's a big classic player at the moment. I think there's a few. Myself in one of my drafts still has Munster, so I'll be keeping an eye on that. And as you said, sort of just keep an eye on him when it comes to trading him in over the next couple of weeks. If you do, you just need to make sure you get him when he's fit.
Yeah.
The first Friday game, I get the first game that's shitty, apparently, according to Jesse. But
Oh,
I'll take this
mate,
one.
blockbuster. What do you
I've got
mean?
his beloved Roosters. So the Bulldogs taking on the Sydney City Roosters, as I like to call them, or the Bondi Roosters. So the Bulldogs. Blake Wilson comes in for Josh Adokar, who's been sidelined due to concussion. That looked pretty nasty when it happened on the weekend. So I'm actually
Mm,
glad he's healthy, he's safe, etc. Preston is out with that broken jaw, so that's big. He was scoring some pretty consistent points there for Super Coach, so he was sort of doing a decent job. Curtis Moran is also out with suspension, so that means Josh Curran actually comes into the back row starting, which means Jameson is still at lock. I don't know what Serrato's watching there, but
yeah.
more and more I see of Semin at lock. He definitely is not a lock forward, but anyway.
Yeah.
And then there's a couple of sort of young guys on the bench. Harrison Edwards comes back onto the bench, and Kitioni
Katoga.
Katonga Katoga. Sorry, guys, if that pronunciation isn't right, but he's on the bench as well. So I don't know too much about him, but young guy on the bench and always ready to rip and tear. So keep an eye on him. For the Roosters, I tell you what, there's been quite a bit that's happened here. Obviously, Trent Robinson wasn't happy with their performance against the depleted Penrith Panthers team.
Mhm.
Terrell May has been shifted to the bench. Lindsay Collins obviously returns. Now, I'm not that concerned when it comes to Supercoach for that because we already know he'll still probably get his 40 odd minutes. So,
Yeah. 60 points.
that's all good. Yeah, something like that. So happy to start him. Angus Crichton moves on to the starting side. Now, Jesse has been smug about this the whole time because I lost my Siwa Wong a few weeks ago and I hated losing him. And he was there going, oh, Tupanua's still there. It's all good. Tupanua's onto the bench now. So
He's gone.
do of that what
I know.
you will, Jesse. But yeah, see you later there. And Egan Butcher moves out of the 17. So anything there, Mr. Roosterman, and unlucky to depart with Satilli?
You know what? I was looking for an excuse to get him out of my side as fast as I could, and I had no rush to. But yeah, now he's well and truly gone. So yeah, no, it'd be good to see Crichton back in, man. Hopefully it's the Crichton of old. What a game to come back against too, the Bulldogs. So yeah, I'll be keeping an eye on him too. As far as Supercoach goes, I think he's just under 400K. So he's got a big break even. He had a couple of those like short minute games off the bench scoring real low. So I think it's about 70, 80 points at the moment for a break even. Don't expect him to hit it. So, if he drops in price, might be worth a look. But if he's an 80-minute back rower, which I doubt considering the going trend of this season, yeah, man, we could be on for something pretty decent. But look, I don't know what the plan is with them. Obviously, Tupanua is the only real second rower they've got. Um, Watson will share for Brandon Smith. White will share for someone in the middle. Terrell May will probably get 50 odd regardless. But yeah, Tupanua, I don't know. Um, it looks like there could be some big minutes for those second rowers. So yeah, I'm pretty keen to see, man. It did sort of you need it to happen. The biggest change that needs to happen really is Luke Keary out, but that's a different story for a different day. So
That's that's Wednesday show material, that one.
yeah,
We did mention
yeah,
that
we'll
last week as
we'll
well.
get into that.
So,
But
um,
yeah,
look, a big change for the Bulldogs for a super coach point of view as well. Sam Hughes has actually been named to start this weekend. Liam Knight moves to the bench. So just keep an eye on that. We all know that coaches sometimes do the late swap and it goes back to the bench. But at the moment, for those who have stayed strong with Sam Hughes, that is me. I am one of those. Hopefully that means he gets a double stint and does a bit more work. We've all heard Gus Good fangirling over how good he was in the preseason, how fit he is. To be honest, I've not seen any of it yet. It feels like Gus has been lying to us, but hopefully
yeah,
this is a game where he starts to show us he's up against a monster pack. Like if there's some prop forwards to really put your foot down and say, I want to be a first grade footballer, it's this one against the likes of Collins, Hargraves, May, etc. Like that's a huge test. So good luck
yeah,
to the kid. For us super coaches, Still won't be playing him. I'm very nervous about the minutes that he gets.
Yeah.
But yeah, it'd be good to keep an eye on him and just hopefully see that second stint start to develop into his game.
Yeah, definitely, man. I think all he needs is the minutes. Like his points per minute are decent, but if he's just not fit enough to get a second stint, then it's just not going to happen. But yeah, fingers crossed, it's not something like a Farmasuli role, like the
Yeah.
first couple games where it was a 20-minute on and just never came back. Because there is a chance of that happening. I know Harrison Edwards has a bit of a motor in him. We saw it last season. Um, Katoga as well, prop forward with Liam Knight. So the rotation's there definitely. But yeah, just got to hope for 40. Like if you can get 40 minutes, 40 odd points, at least it's going to sort his price changing out. Because at the moment, it looks like he's going to start going backwards from near nothing. So it's not ideal. Josh Curran in the second row as well. I did bring up Josh Curran's stats, just playing back row the last couple of years, like what he averaged and that kind of thing. Seems to obviously do a bit more through the middle, points per minute and just output wise, but it's about a 50 average for the last 2 years from 22 to 23, roughly 20 odd games, starting on the back row, averaging about 50. So it's pretty much what he's priced at. I know the wish was that he would, start through the middle, start in the 10 or something and get himself a dual position. I don't think that's very likely anymore. Um, but we'll just have to wait and see what happens next round. But yeah, obviously more minutes for him could mean a fair bit, especially in that side too. He seems to do so much work and good chance he goes into the middle as well at some rotation point there. But yeah, just have to see. But very popular pick at the moment. Anyway, besides that, team looks how it should.
Yep. Next game is the Newcastle Knights versus the St. George Illawarra Dragons. This one's to you. But before we go to that, we forgot to sort of talk about it. Captaincy choice for this week. Who have you got? Because look at this game right now, knowing the player that you have, and I shit myself. But anyway, who are you looking at, like having your C or your VC on early, and maybe your C in the loophole with maybe Cleary with the buy? So there's a
Yeah.
definite loophole up available this week.
So yeah, pretty much I've put the VC on Ponga. The only reason I'm a little hesitant on it too is the fact that there's going to be an absolute bloody downpour on Friday.
Ooh,
Um,
thanks, Tim
ex-
Bailey.
yeah, expecting about 80 mils apparently, or thereabouts. So it's going to bucket down. It's going to piss down hard. And it's kind of, almost in a way scared me off doing it. So I'll
Mm.
VC him. Um, we saw Turbo get kept pretty quiet, just mainly out of errors last week against the Dragons. They're not at home, the Dragons, so I don't expect them to be as solid. But they weren't, that crazy. I think mainly kind of did himself in a little bit. Um, but yeah, I'll be looking at either a VC on Ponga or a captain. Really, I'm pretty glad that I've got Holmes and Drinkwater for this Titans at home fixture. So it'll be most likely a captain on probably Drinkwater, I would say. At the moment, I'm thinking I'm leaning that direction. But yeah, VC Ponga, captain the Holmes, if that's the case, because he obviously can't captain Drinkwater at the same time. But I'll work it out closer to the day. Um, if not, I might. I don't know who else I would VC if it wasn't maybe Hammer. I think Hammer plays before um, the Cowboys do, and I can VC him against the Tigers. So yeah, a couple little things here and there, but I don't know. The weather, it's just going to be nasty on Friday and Saturday down this way. So have to see what happens.
That is scary because I was contemplating doing the VC on Teddy against the Bulldogs, just not knowing what's going to happen there. I just think they'll roll through the Bulldogs middle, and that will then bring Tedesco Manu into the game. But that downpour does worry me a little bit.
Yeah.
Hammer for mine's on my radar as well. He just seems to be scoring points for fun at the moment, and I know the Tigers have looked a lot better this year. The last two games, obviously, with wins and a much better all around team. But as I said, the Hammer is just scoring super coach points for fun at the moment. So
Mm.
I can see that being another game at home for the Dolphins where he just turns it on and does another 100 plus games. So at the moment, all I want for my captain is getting over that 100 mark. Dill Brown, 40 odd as a captain was horrible. So get me back into the 100 mark. But anyway, get back into these for us. So the Knights versus the Dragons.
Yeah. So Knights and Dragons. A few changes for the Knights. Jackson Hastings is back. So that experiment didn't last very long. Gamble has been punted. and they've moved Cogger to 5'8" and then put him in there. So good to see. I think we're almost at that combination that the Knights fans want now. So we're almost there, but I think it could actually be quite a good little pair up that they've got there with Cogger in the six. Outside of that, looks like Leo Thompson's back in. Pierce Paul keeps his spot. Dylan Lucas is out at the expense of Gagai coming back, so he's been punted back down into the 18 again. So besides that, yeah, and Jada Brayley starts too, so it's put Phoenix Crossland back onto the bench. So yeah, Knights look like they're starting to find their stride a little bit, but we'll have to see how the results come. Um, for the Dragons, anything unchanged here? I don't believe so. Michael Molo's in for Sele. Eisen, who starts at lock. So have to see if he actually does start at lock. But besides that, it's yeah, same as last round. They did well enough to get themselves the win there. So why would you change it?
Yeah, exactly. I think as a non-Ponga owner anymore, Hastings has, for some reason this year, especially, I don't know, Ponga's Supercoach points have obviously been impacted with Hastings there, so that's probably a little area to be a little bit worried about if you were a Ponga owner, just how that works once again. But apart from that, they needed to do something because Gamble wasn't
Mhm.
working. He just looks like, at the, to be brutally honest, he looks like a park footballer at the moment for Newcastle, and he needs to go and just sort out whatever the hell is going on because he's doesn't look like he's actually there at the moment. Don't know if it's something personal. Hope there's not. But yeah, I'm just at a loss of how poor he's actually going and how he even kept his spot and instead of Hastings there for a while.
Yeah,
But good to see Gagai obviously back. Jaden Brayley's going to be the one to watch at the moment. I've mental blank on what he's priced at currently, but if he
uh,
gets
330.
his
I think he should
330,
be.
so his service from dummy half is remarkable.
Yep.
I just want to see him start to become the more dominant hooker, getting that say 60 odd minute spell over Crossland and stuff, and just really putting his foot down there. There's no doubt in my mind that Newcastle are a better side with Brayley starting at hooker. He's their one of their leaders, one of their captains, and etc. So yeah, looking forward to hopefully seeing him get a good run. Not just talking about Supercoach, but for him in general as well. It's been a horrible few years injury wise, and he's actually a very quality, good hooker. So good to
Yeah.
see him perform.
Yeah, definitely. Even just touching on that Supercoach thing too, obviously hasn't had a price change. Not yet anyway. Break even of 61. Expected to drop a bit in coin too. So it could be hovering around that 300s quite soon. And I don't see him going too much lower than that really, unless he gets, unfortunately, hopefully not. He can stay fit, but if an injury happens, you kind of screwed out. But becomes a really solid option too now that he's starting. Just yeah, keep an eye on the minutes share with Crossland and fingers crossed for him. He can get some minutes under his belt. Good to
Yep.
see him back
No,
out.
I agree. First of the Saturday game, South Sydney Rabbitohs versus the New Zealand Warriors. 3 o'clock at a core. So for the Rabbitohs, Alex Johnson's out with that torn hamstring. I think he's out for about 6 weeks. I thought this is great for Gagai. For some reason, I don't know if Gagai has pictures of JD nude or something, and he's just holding him to ransom, but he can't get a look in all of a sudden. I actually thought he looked really good when he was playing. So I don't know what the hell
Yeah.
has happened there, but JD, I guess. I don't know what to do with JD anymore. Like he just has lost me completely. I'm not even a South Sydney fan, so it's just head scratching some of the choices. Isaac Thompson is the one that comes in there. Shaq Mitchell is out with a head knock, which means Sean Kepi does come back onto the bench. So um, that's it for the Rabbitohs. For the New Zealand Warriors, look out. No Roger Tuivasa-Sheck at fullback. That means Chance Nickel Clockstad is back.
Yep.
After his game on the weekend, I was actually half tempted if I was a coach to just leave Roger there and just say to Chance, you know what? Let's just try at centre for a while just to see how it works because maybe I'm looking at it with Supercoach glasses on, but geez, Rogers did look good at the full in the fullback position. And as I said, he got my 3 points on the weekend. I thought he was sensational. So
Mm,
to go back to centre is a little bit of a worry, but I just think he's now got his feet grounded. He knows exactly what he needs to do at this level. Once again, he's playing well. I'm still happy to have him in my team. I'm not looking to sell him at all. Tamari Martin comes in for the injured Luke Metcalf, and I don't really understand. I didn't see this happen, but Kurt Capewell is ruled out headaches after his concussion. I think he did come back into that game, but he's been some post sort of symptoms, which I don't want to see.
Yeah,
Hopefully, he is okay. But Marata Niokoro comes into the starting side, which means I think it's Tom Ale will come on to the bench for him. So that's how that is. Wade Egan, I tell you what, he just gets bashed every week. I have not seen a player in my life get hurt as much as he. He's just literally, he's just a punching bag out there. He
he's a
just
magnet.
cops it
Yeah.
and he just gets up. I feel bad for him every time.
Yeah,
But yeah.
yeah, he's hard as nails, but fuck, he's made of glass. So
Oh,
it's wild to see, man. He does cop a friggin' beating out there, but he just gets his head, places you wouldn't put your foot. But he he seems to bounce out, and then he'll just play the game, and yeah, all of a sudden he's not named next week, or he is, and then it's a late swap. Poor Metcalf, touch on him, broken tibia,
yes.
fractured,
Yes. So
so he'll
he's
be out
out for
for
a while.
he's out for a while, man. And for some reason, I was expecting Harris Tavita to be there, but opted for Tamari Martin, and then dropped Harris
Apparently,
Tavita out
by all
entirely.
reports, Tamari Martin killed it, like actually killed it in reserve grade the last week or two. So I think he's forced his hand there, which I like to see. The coach
Mm,
actually
yeah,
rewarding
yep,
form. So that is, yeah, as I said, like Tamari Martin in a way has come from nowhere. No one's really spoken about him this year for the Warriors. There's probably people out there that even forgot he was with the Warriors still, but he's a gun. He obviously is a very good player. I hope he works well with SJ because we'll talk about our trades later on, and you'll understand why I'm saying that.
yeah. Well, you know what? He's traditionally not been super dominant. He's kind of like the Moylan to the Nico. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? So, um, could be really good for SJ. Really, really good. Yeah,
I think we're next. You're up next. You're Manly versus Penrith.
Manly Penrith. Oh, I did get another good one too. Saturday, 5:30 over in Brookie. This one. So for Manly, I can't see any changes, to be honest with you. It looks pretty much the same as
No.
far as it goes. Matt Lodge in team training, da da da. So nothing different as far as Manly run out. Um, to be fair, there's not much to change, but after last week, all they can really do is just get better. Um, for Panthers, sorry, Fisher Harris is back in. So I was expecting at least another week out of Fisher Harris to not there, but he's come back. So it looks like he's pushed Lindsay Smith back to the bench. Liam Henry keeps his spot there. Um, Luke Garner is named in there over Sorensen. Obviously, he's injured, and Liam Martin's still in the side. I was expecting another week out for him as well, looking like he got injured last round. But nah, man, they were cooking last week. So Dylan Edwards just stepping up when Cleary's gone. He's done that a few times, and yeah, Schneider seems to just do a shift. I feel like with the Panthers, you can basically just plug because they have to do it every year during Origin,
Mhm.
and Cleary's like annual few week hammy injury. Um, Whoever they put
Or
there
suspension.
just kills it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they did it with O'Sullivan a few years ago. They did it with Cogger. They're doing it with Schneider. It's like you can just grab a half, throw them into that jersey for the 1 or 2 weeks that Cleary's out, and they'll just do a job. A really bloody good one. So yeah, credit to him. Can pretty much turn
I think
anyone's job.
it's big credit as well to Jerome Lua, who I've been a
Yeah,
huge critic of over the years and questioned the West Tigers actually signing him to be the lead singer, so to speak. But I thought he was actually really, really good on the weekend as well and helped Snyder with taking a lot of pressure off him. And he actually stood up in that role for once when Cleary wasn't there. And he
yep,
was that main guy, which was really good to see. And shout out to Dylan Edwards, who we did talk about in the preseason, who he was an option. If you wanted to just plug away with a fullback to get 70 points every week. I don't think he's got 70 once so far. I think he's been over and above like
it
ridiculous.
always
So he's
averages
just
70,
been,
man.
yeah, it ends up averaging, but goodness me, he started so well this year and he just looks like he's everywhere.
Yeah, yeah, he's been flying. Traditionally too, he does actually start the year quite hot as well. So, it did make a fair bit of sense to even just run with him to begin with. But started with a 40, then 116, then a 56, and then 120. So it's a hell of a yo-yo, but friggin' hell, there's some points
There's
there,
your
man.
70.
Yeah, exactly, right in the middle. I think he's averaging, yeah, 83 at the moment, so good on him. No,
Yeah.
he's doing well, man.
Um, Shout out quickly to Liam Henry, who I had to plug as my starting front rower last week, and I had him and May. Obviously, went in a bit nervous, but good. I think between them, they ended up getting like 125 points as my starting front rowers. So I was very, very wrapped with that, considering the price that I actually paid for him. Next game up, the Dolphins versus the West Tigers. Look at Suncorp Sunday night. Might get out to that one. That might be a game of interest for me. Um, there. Look for the Dolphins. The only change I can see here is that Max Plath has obviously copped his suspension, which means Ray Stone will start in the lock position, meaning this guy's just gone missing. Kenny Bromwich is back on the bench. Can't get a look in at the moment, so I don't know what's happened there, but um, can't get a look in at the team. But he gets a chance to show why he should be back in that side this week for the Tigers. They probably didn't want to change anything, but they were forced to with, unfortunately, Lockie Galvin being suspended for that hip drop.
Yep,
What a game he produced. So Jaden
he's
Sullivan
enormous.
has a chance to come in and play that 5/8 role with Caesar, which I think at the start of the year, most people penned in as this would be their halves pairing. So a lot of pressure now on Sullivan. He has 2 weeks to show Benji he's the guy there. But for mine, I think Galvin's already run away with that jersey. As soon as he's back after that suspension, he'll get that number 6 jersey back. I think most have him in their team at the moment, and we may as well quickly say to him now, don't get rid of him. Just hold
No,
Galvin for 2 weeks. It's no
absolutely.
point even playing around with that.
Yeah, I've seen some discussion about just trade him out now, get him back in 2 weeks. I'm like, why would you do that? You know, I mean, like, what's the point? Especially in that position too, 5'8". It's pretty ugly, and
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to be playing around too much with it. But yeah, um, what a player, man! What a player! Kills it in the first bit, gets binned, comes back, wins the game. Like he's ice cold, that fella, man. So good to see it.
Yes.
He's gonna go through the roof too. Yeah, we could be looking at another Dream Buller from last year. So
And it's
fingers
so
crossed.
cliche, and I feel gross saying it, but he just has Benji Marshall traits about him at that age. He was spoken about. He was that kid that was coming through the grades. He was spectacular. But the thing that I loved so much about it was so many kids would come back after being sin bin and just sit in a hole and go, I just want to finish this game. Don't want to make another mistake. Don't let my team down. He did the opposite. He said, give me the fucking ball. I want to win this game for us
Yeah,
and I'll get it done. Trust me, come with me. I'll get it done. And that's exactly what he did. And he's not like Benji in terms of he doesn't have that real flick passes and stuff, but he's just a footballer. He's like an
yeah,
old school footy player. And it is so refreshing to see a young half coming through that actually just knows how to play footy. He knows to do things on the run and to just play what he sees in front of him. He actually looks
mm,
up and decides what to do. It's just I love
yeah,
watching him. I'm actually was annoyed that he got suspended just for a rugby league fan because I've loved watching him play. It's just been awesome.
yeah. I think the Tigers are gonna feel it, to be honest, a lot more than
Yeah,
they
I agree.
expect. Which is wild to think that this kid's played 3 games of footy, 2 games, whatever it's been. Um, and he's so young. You know what I mean? Like he plays like he's been playing for 10 years.
Yeah.
He's just got it. Like, he just has that edge on him. But yeah, I don't know. Like, the Tigers have looked fantastic with him doing a lot of work. So we'll see. Like, Jaden Sullivan's not a bad player, man. So I don't think he's going to take the jersey off him by any means. But um, they got a headache next year when Luai's in.
Oh, massive.
Yeah,
Oh, I don't know what they'll do there, but
yeah.
glad
Just
I'm not the
just
coach.
reverse the deal, man. Reverse the deal. You don't need Luai. You've got Galvin. You know, the kid's the
Yeah.
future. So
Or
who knows?
or start phoning around and getting Sullivan to shop him around. I know it's only the first year of his
He's
4-year
just
deal or
started.
something, but you don't need him. Like the
Yeah,
Bulldogs look like they're screaming for someone like that. Just go talk to them.
true.
Go have a chat. You don't
Yeah,
know. So get on to the game that you just absolutely can't wait to watch on the weekend. You've already fanboying this. It's actually making me sick, the thought about what could happen in this game.
yeah.
The Cowboys versus the Titans.
Yeah. So this one's pretty much it's either gonna project me into, you know, the 10% or I'm gonna shit the bed, but it's the Titans. Yeah. Feeling pretty hopeful. Sunday, 4 o'clock. This one, love a Cowboys game, 4 o'clock. For the Cowboys, unchanged, um, entirely unchanged actually. So looking like they're gonna, fuck, I don't know, they're gonna wreck the Titans, man. Drinkwater, Holmes. Fuck, I'm just begging for him. For the Titans, a couple of changes here. Philip Sami's out, so Smith Shields comes in, and Jojo Fafita as well. So it looks like both wingers are gone. Khan Pereira's out too. You've got Chris Randall starting in the nine, both former Cleese Haas still there. So Dave Fafita's still on the bench. Aaron Clark at lock. So a couple of changes there. Jolliffe moves into number 10. Bit of a reshuffle. Might just see, yeah, we'll just have to see what happens with Dave Fafita. I suppose that's the biggest inclusion as far as they go. Was last week too, had a decent stint, played quite well. But um, yeah, I just don't think it's going to be enough, man. Not for these cows, especially not at home.
I look, the Titans, credit to them, they made some changes, but I don't know what the hell they need to do. But I'm sorry to say this, Tana Boyd is not a halfback at NRL level. He is rubbish. And I've just got to, there's no way of saying it politely anymore. He's had his time in the sun. I've not rated him one bit at all. The Titans fans going about, oh, he's such a good goal kicker, though. He's a good general play kicker. Okay, good on him. He cannot run your team to save his life. You've got four in there. You don't need another guy controlling the team because even though he's playing 5'8", Foreign is your general on the field. Whenever he plays, he's the one calling the shots. Let Tommy Weaver come in, play while you've got four in there playing another. If it's this year he retires, you might get one more year out of him. He needs to play while foreign is there. He needs to learn off him, and he's the future seven at that club, not Tana Boyd. Like, yeah, okay, change your wingers up. One was a forced change because he's injured. The other one,
Yeah,
like your wingers aren't the reason you're losing these games, guys. I'm sorry to say, but there's just I scratch my head. Like Aaron Clark, for instance, moves into the lock. I haven't rated him one bit this year, and he gets a promotion into the starting side. Like, I don't know. The Titans just sort of feel like to me at the moment they're digging their own grave in a way.
yeah,
It's just watching him on the weekend was. I'm not even a Titans fan, and I was embarrassed for him. It's so hard to watch them at the moment. They just employed, implode. Sorry, and
yeah,
I just feel for him because honestly, the way it's going, I think Fafita's going to go,
yeah. Well,
and
why
that's going
hang
to
around?
crush him.
Yeah, like they've already lost Tino for the season. They're pretty much just getting them. They're going to ride the team off the back of Dave Fafita and just see what happens. But man, you go through the side, like they got Campbell back. That's pretty big for him. Um, Obviously the wingers and the centers and stuff, like they're not getting a lot. Then they don't have much to get from their halves,
Mm.
or they've just got nothing to work with. Um, it's pretty hard to rely on forward to do everything too, considering aging. Hopefully doesn't get injured. He's the last thing that team needs. Like they're on the brink of collapse anyway. Um, but yeah, like Tanner Boyd hasn't been inspiring for season and a half. They got rid of Sexton for him
Yeah.
just to run with him as well. Like admittedly, Sexton's not even in the team at the Dogs, so you can't say he would have been their savior by any means. But
Which is
like,
wrong.
yeah, I didn't mind Sexton too at the Titans. Like he didn't play too many games, but he always put out quite a bit when he did. Um, but then even the minutes rotation with the forwards, like Fodawaker can play massive minutes if he has to, and he just doesn't seem to be doing much with it. Um, yeah, I don't know. It's not inspiring. There's nothing here that says, oh yeah, the Titans, they look like they're on the bounce back or they're on the way up. I think their odds to finish with the spoon have even plummeted even further now. I think they're about $1.80 or something. So if you got on the 650s when Tino got his injury, yeah, you're laughing now because it looks like almost a sure thing. Um, yeah,
It's
Fafita's
pretty
goes.
sad because the
Yeah,
bookies are basically saying it's more likely the Titans will finish last and Penrith winning the competition. And for mine, Penrith are the clear head and shoulders above the pack at the moment.
yeah,
So
true.
to think about it in that way, it's actually it's pretty insane. But
Yeah,
yeah, look,
I just
I just want
don't
to
see
ask
how
you a
they turn
super
around.
coach question around Bo Fermor. We're about to get to our trades after this last game we preview. in one of
Yep.
my trade options, he's on the chopping block for me. I'm not impressed at all with what I've got from him so far this year. I
Mhm.
know you were pretty high up on him as well at the start of the year. I don't know if you still have him or not, but
I
what are your
do.
thoughts around him? Um, Look, I know ACLs are so hard to come back from. There was always warning signs with him, and I should listen to my gut at the start. I said I wasn't going to touch him, and I ended up doing it last minute. Um, yeah, I just the way the Titans are playing, he's on the other edge to foreign, so he's not getting the foreign quality ball either. It's just all signs to me. It's saying avoid or get rid of now while you can, and why he's a decent price because I just feel like he's going to drop and continue to drop a bit.
Yeah, it's a fair point. Like, they haven't looked good by any means. He had every opportunity to start quite well because he was on that good side. Foreign had that game out. They had the bye, gave him a chance to sort of get back, and then obviously he's moved to the right hand. But in general, they just look like shit. So, you can have high hopes for anyone, but his output hasn't been bad. He just hasn't got the attack yet. You know what I mean? Like he's averaging 42. He had a 53 game all in base and a game they got battered. So yeah, I don't know, man. It's one of those things where you could probably punt him now, like he's still worth a pretty penny. Like he's 457K. Like
Yeah, that's what I
it's not
mean.
250, it's not 300. You can't just get on with it. Um, it is a fair bit. I don't see him dropping massively in the next couple of weeks, so you could probably get away with one or two because his break even's 43. Um, he's been getting at least almost that at the very least. Like he's got a 34, a 53, and a 39. So, there's a pretty decent chance 80 minutes he can get himself 43 points, even as bad as they're going. Um, if that's just what he's getting in base too, like he's a try scoring forward too. Like if he gets a decent ball, he's going to run that line. He's going to try and get to the line anyway. So all he needs is just to go over once, and then all of a sudden, he's back on the ball again. But yeah, if you want to get off him, like do it. There's nothing's really holding you back for this one. Besides the fact that their fixture run for a little while is not too bad. Again, they're probably not going to win any of them, so it's a bit irrelevant. But um, yeah, yeah. At the
Uh,
moment, there's still a fair few players around his price that are pretty good. Obviously, you got Pierce Paul, about 10, 15K cheaper than him with a negative break even. So it's a very easy swap to do. Or you just
yeah.
go up a little bit more. There's still a couple floating around 500. So he's still at a good price to move on. Like he hasn't had a massive drop. He's had no increase. Um, I've got him in both of my draft teams as well. Still wondering if I should give him another week. This would be the week to sort of have a look at anyway. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know yet.
See,
Still pretty heavily
we'll see
owned
what
too. He's
happens.
about 14% owned. So yeah, there's still a fair few that have him. Um,
Hmm.
20,000. Yeah, a bit over
I
20,000.
guess
So
as you said, like if the base is still there, I guess you do. He's not like a. I'm not saying you must get out of him. I'm just thinking while there's still some decent options and to maybe get a little bit of cash out of him while you
yeah.
can, just sort of get off. If like it feels like at the moment it is a bit of a luxury sort of move, because I think there's a lot of people even with the team changes this week, if or even last week, are probably still trying to make up for last week's mess, and they probably
Mm,
have one or two players they still want to get rid of. Um, but yeah, like I just thought a bit of an interesting talking point there.
yeah.
The last game, so we can probably go back to that one and talk about the trades, etc. Canberra Raiders versus Parramatta Eels, Sunday 6:15 in at Canberra. For the Raiders, Mariota comes in for the injured Zach Hosking, who's out with concussion, and Simi Sasagi comes onto the bench. So it's a huge blow for those super coaches that got on Zach Hosking because the thing is, there's still no Elliot Whitehead in this team. So obviously he's out again for who knows what's happening there. I feel it's going to be a common occurrence this year. Whitehead out more than he's actually in. So Zach Hosking owners would have been spewing. So unfortunate there for the Parramatta Eels. Nowhere near enough changes. As a Parramatta fan, I wish there was a hell of a lot more, but it is what it is. Bailey Simonson comes into the centre for Morgan Harper. Bryce Cartwright does remain out with that injury. So that means Ryan Madison will start in the second row. Kelma Tuolangi moves to the bench, and so does Wiramu Greg. who ends up taking Brendan Hand's spot on the bench. So another middle forward on there. Who knows what's going to happen there? If there's any late switches, the way Brett Arthur's been this year, there'll be some late stuff. But yeah, there you go with that one. Thoughts,
Yeah.
Jesse?
Um, I am pretty high on Mariota, to be honest with you. I like Mariota. I think he's a great little player, man. He's a bit of a gun, bit of a beast out there too. And starting in second row, like I've only ever seen him play about 20, 30 minutes off the bench in the middles. So I'll be interested to see because as far as like a super coach point goes, he's about 260K front row forward. Obviously, I don't expect this to be anything that lasts long term, considering he's covering for Hosking, who's covering for Whitehead. So it's not something to jump on. But um, yeah, I just think it'll be interesting watch to see how he goes out there, to be fair. And Ryan Madison too. Look, I love Ryan Madison as a player. I won my first draft comp with him as a dual halfback in fantasy. Playing second row for the Roosters. Yeah, it pretty much walked me to my title. So after that, yeah, I made a point of getting him in my team every year and then dealing with every bit of concussion he had from all the clubs that he bounced around. So yeah, he had one great year in 2018 and yeah, I wouldn't say downhill from there, but yeah, good to see him back on the edge too. Um, yeah, I always like to see Madison get out there and hope his brain doesn't get porridged up. So
Yeah. The only positive for Parramatta was Clint Gutherson, and we did speak about him last week and
yeah,
said it would be a sneaky option now that Moses is out because he'll be the guy that basically does everything, and that was the case. He ended up getting over 100 points in Supercoach as well, which was handy for those who do have him. I didn't get on my own advice. I'm happy with that at the moment, Teddy and Pappy. Hopefully that continues to have work for me, but he's still
yeah,
an option there, guys. I still think he's gonna. I'll go out and say I reckon he'll average over 90 while Moses is out. He'll be scoring a lot of points. He's the main guy there at the moment. The halves, sort of Dill
yeah.
Brown isn't a halfback, but Gutho's basically playing fullback and halfback at the same time. So he's reaping a heap of points through all of that, and he's goal kicking. So when he does kick him, it's handy. So yeah, Gutho just sort of keep a little eye on. If you're looking at someone, maybe I don't know when, but he's still looking
It's
like a decent option there.
I feel like if you want to do it, you got to do it now. To be
Oh,
fair,
yeah.
man, like you're 58 break even. He's 700K. Um, and you saw it last year when Brown was out, how much he did. He's going to do more now because Moses can kind of control a bit more. Brown maybe not so much, but yeah, I just think with the kicking tee as well, because he didn't have that last year when Brown was out. Obviously, Moses was still kicking very well, and he was still putting hundreds out week after week. And now he's kicking on top of that. Yeah, it's hard, isn't it? It's very hard because you look at your fullbacks. I look at my fullbacks this week, and I am so content with them. Like I am stoked that I have the two that I've got. I want Gutho for this stretch while Moses is out. I want Gutho like hands down in my side. But who do you drop? Like, is it like you talk about
Yeah.
luxury trades moving on Bo Firmor? For fuck's sake, it's hardly a luxury at all. Like it's almost worth it. But I definitely don't feel like moving Ponga or Drinkwater out, against the Dragons and the Titans this week. I don't know, man, because I reckon there's probably a good chance that between now and by the time Moses gets back, Gutherson averages more than any fullback.
I think
Like
you're on the money.
that's my hot take for the next 8 weeks, man. Dead set. Like I really think that he might be pushing 90 plus average for the next 8 rounds.
Yeah.
Like, he did it last year comfortably, and now he's kicking too. So it's like shit. He's got every opportunity to, man. The attack runs through two players at the moment. He's two of them. So yeah, yeah. I don't know,
Yeah.
man. It's
Uh,
it's a tricky one. It's a tricky one to do. Still just super pod too. He's in 2,800 teams. Like that's nothing. He's nothing. He's 700K. He'll make money this
uh,
week, and that's the thing. Like he'll go up in price, not much, but he'll start going up.
I'm
Yeah,
getting the pad and pen out after this video,
yeah,
and who knows what's going to happen. Don't get some thoughts into my head. But anyway,
but yeah,
talking about trades,
yep,
I'll go first. I'm going to give you mine, and then you can give me yours. And while you're giving me yours, I'll go and get everyone else's trades and stuff up and their questions. So heading into round 5, once again, I've got 3 options that I'm going to hit at you that I've already sent you through. So you do have a little preview about this one. Where I'm at so far, guys, I'm not locked in once again. You'll be on the post. What's today? Yeah, Thursday. So a couple of days' time. So my options are, and I'll give you what money I have in the bank after this because it sets me up for possibilities for the week after. At the moment, Nico Hines, who obviously the Sharks have the bye this weekend, and I've got Cleary as well. So in my mind, I don't want to go in with no halfback. I want to have a halfback in here. So all three of my options feature no Nico Hines. Um, so Hines gone for Johnson. So Johnson's in. Now, I want to ask you a question around the Nico Hines and the Cleary debate afterwards, because I think there is value in doing Cleary as well at the moment because they've got the bye next week and then they can play Hines next week. With them could be some talk about that, but we'll get to it. So
Yeah,
Hines to Johnson and May. That's the Penrith May, the one that has let everyone down and has been an absolute flop. To Blaze Talangi, and that will free me up 470k. Now that is some
huge.
very, very juicy bickies to possibly be playing with for the week after. I don't want to use a boost this week, guys. I'm trying to hold off on that as much as I can. Well, you might be thinking, oh, great, now you can go from that and get basically whoever you want in. I just want to, the way this year's been going so far, I just want to, there's not as many fires to put out for me this week. So I'm happy to just be a bit more content and use those boosts for when I actually really need it. I'm trying to hold at least one of them for the back half of the year, which bit me last year. Second option, Nico Hines to Johnson once again. And then Bo Fermor, which I spoke about, to Kai Pearce Paul. That gives me 242k spare. And then the final one, Nico Hines to Johnson. And then the South Gagai over to Talangi in basically a straight swap. That will give me 226k. That just relieves me of the headache that is Gagai. I don't really want enough still at the moment. I don't think I'm at that stage of the year. I'd like to have some guys who are generating cash as best as possible at those sort of cheap positions.
Yeah, no, that's probably the best way to do it. To be fair, man. Um, your Fermor to Pierce Paul move is good. You'll make coin out of that too. Obviously, Gagai's probably never going to come back. He's not going to feature again. So, um, I feel like this
Munro's
week,
soon.
considering, yeah, exactly, like, and he's already behind Thompson. Like, it's just not going to happen. So, um, I feel like as far as Talangi goes, he's kind of almost a must this week.
Yeah.
Um, if you've
I
got
think you
like
can make
Taylor
up to
Mays, is
70k.
yeah, well, in a week, and then
Yeah.
continue, probably get himself a dual position, which will be nice. There's a lot of upside to having him. You know, whether or not it's a long stint or not, or if it's just something to make cash out of, it's irrelevant. He's definitely a good play this week to get in. I'll be probably looking at moving Torpiki to him because he's gone. I don't like the Taylor May out move, to be honest with you. Because as soon as you do that, he'll explode. That's the
Yeah.
problem. Like he's still on a crazy team. They've just found a lot of success going right at the moment. So um, it's not one of those things where like a team can queue in on it and go, oh, we'll just close down their edge because it's the Panthers, and you're not going to be able to do that regardless. But you know, you will find those games where a team's got a really, really strong left edge, and they'll just go right once or twice. And you know, to be fair, he does look lazy out there too. So I don't know. I'm not rushing to sell him at the moment because you know he's not injured. He's fine. Like he's playing in a friggin' he's been the best team in the league at the moment. It's just his sort of price is kind of capped where he is. What was the first move that you say that gave you like 500k?
So Hines to Johnson, May to Talangi,
Yeah,
470.
I would probably personally, I'd probably go for the third one,
Yeah. I
your
might do
Gagai
that.
one, because Gagai is
Yeah.
going to do nothing for you, and you can automatically make money. And then if you really want it out of you to have a halfback and you run him with SJ, which is I think is pretty solid. Like I told you this morning. Um, Yeah, I'd probably go there personally, man, in that direction. But I want to hear your Cleary Hines talk because there's a fair argument. There's a lot of people in the same position as you this week with both of them.
Yeah.
So it's
So
worth a talk.
I'll have the post up tomorrow for just the draw that we do for the next five run. And First thing that pops out to me is that if I sell Hines this week, which I think is, and from the stats, it looks like the more popular play at the moment for everyone. Yep, that's fine. That gets me through this week. But then I'm sort of stuck in a way. I came into this year thinking I was going to play two halfbacks each and every week, and now it hasn't really paid off with the Cleary Hines combo. But it hasn't been the worst thing ever, but it hasn't been the greatest thing either. So the fact if I sell Hines, I'm still stuck next week with a non-playing halfback in Nathan Cleary. Now, Nathan Cleary has scored a bit better than Hines. He's kept his price a little bit better than Hines has. Again, Hines for mine did nothing on the weekend and ended up scoring a 90 odd, which has me a bit more keen to keep him. But then the Sharks, after the bye, they've got the Rabbitohs who are not flying at all. They look like they're
Mhm.
struggling. They've got the Cowboys. I just need to check if that's at home or not. I have a feeling it might be. And then they've got the
Yeah,
Raiders and then the Dragons as well. So it's a
at home.
decent run for them.
Yeah.
That's sort of why I'm thinking, or because then what my thinking is with Nathan Cleary, I'm still concerned it's the hamstring. I know he's been on television. They said, look, it's not as bad as last year's stuff, but it still is there. And as you said, it seems to happen each and every year at the moment. He gets
Mm.
his hemi injury. He's out for a few weeks. I don't think they'll be in any rush to rush him back at all. Like he'd probably be back, and yet it's the Tigers. The Tigers are decent. Um, that's in round 7, so that's after the bye. Obviously, they got Manly this week, and he hasn't been named. Round 8 is the Cowboys, and then round 9 is the Rabbitohs as well. So it is pretty similar in terms
Mm.
of the
Same.
quality of teams and the teams that they are versing. You'd probably throw the Tigers and Dragons into the same sort of basket with the quality that they can either turn up or maybe they won't. Um, I just honestly have it's probably a better question for you because I honestly don't have any idea. The more I'm thinking of it, the more I actually think I might get rid of Cleary and not Hines and keep Hines and just see what he can do and just give him one last crack against the Rabbitohs. It is wasting a trade if I then trade back to Cleary, and that's a trade
Yeah.
gone. But I want SJ in my team. Look at the Warriors coming up now. They've got the Bunnies, they've got Manly, they've got the Dragons, Titans, Newcastle. That's the next 5. All juicy options now with Metcalf gone. I think that means SJ goes back to being that he normally is anyway, the main guy who organizes and does everything. I think he's going to score quite decently, especially in that period. I just
Mm.
there's so much and then there's part of me that just thinks don't get rid of Hines or Cleary. There's always that argument as well. Like don't sell either of them. We started the season saying they were guns. You don't get rid of them, but I can't
Oh, look.
have
Yeah.
a risk of a no halves again. Oh, no halves for this weekend. I don't want to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tricky because you'll be playing no one. Like, it's not like you can just
Yeah.
sort of get away with one or the other. Um, from the eye test and everything that we sort of know, Cleary is by far performing better in
Yeah.
game than Hines is. I don't think there's much of a discussion around that. Um, I want Cleary back in my side. I got rid of him last week. Hasn't worked out well, fucking Brooks. But it wasn't about that. It was mainly about getting the coin to get our homes and stuff sorted. So it was fine to do, and I have all intention of going back to Cleary anyway. Probably at the expense of Hines. I don't feel like I want to dismantle my team too much, but I just want to go sideways and just get him back in because he just looks better. Again, like Hines having the bye this week hurts, but he's going to be coming back with a 100 break even, which for Hines is it's irrelevant anyway. Same as Cleary, but I suppose then you can kind of lump it into like Cleary comes back around 7. You maybe get 4, 5 weeks out, Origins up. Then you've got to worry about that again. You're probably going to boot him again for it. Probably going to go back to Hines. If it's not one or the other. So like as far as the logic side of things goes, you would stick with Hines as far as the comparison because you don't have to worry about him going anywhere. After this buy, they don't have a buy for ages. He won't play Origin most likely anyway. and I'm pretty sure their fixtures look okay through that bye period. So um, there is that, but yeah, Cleary's Cleary. Like he will punish you for not having him. So um, if you're happy to burn a couple trades to do what you want to do, then I think that might be, you know, probably might be a bit more logical because you do get to play a half next week, or two of them.
Mm.
Um, I'm just going to leave Hines on the bench for mine at the moment. Not worry about it until round 7, and I'll just have to see what I can do by then. If I can have both of them, Hines and Cleary, ideally I want to. But if not, then it'll be probably a Cleary, a Hines swap to him. But you get more money trading Cleary too. Not much when you're talking about having about 400k or whatever it is in the bank. Don't know, man.
No, I'm with you with the May thing, and we will talk about that a bit more because there has been a few people come through with their trade saying they're going to get rid of him. I'd keep him for now. I think it's just, as you said, just scares me the fact that knowing the quality on that team, that he could easily just get that one or two tries. He's back into it, back generating cash, which was the whole purpose of getting him to start with, start of the year. Hopefully he just starts getting a bit busier. I think that's what we want. Senna's not ideal for him. He's obviously scored very well when he was at wing. But I
Mm,
don't think I just want to get rid of Gagai. Gagai's a headache for me at the moment, and I just want to get. I think that's a safer move. And if I do the Cleary to Johnson anyway, it frees me up an extra 40, 50k anyway. So I'll get a decent amount of cash to attack next
yeah.
week.
With
So yeah,
with Taylor too, I think he's got about a 70 something or so break even. So he will probably lose some coin, but you can't ever rule it out too. That's the thing. Like he could just explode. One try, a couple line breaks, no dramas, and then yeah, he's hit his 77. He hasn't gone anywhere. But they do a buy next week. So
mm,
yeah, if the move is, May to Lungi and then you bank yourself what 450k, something like that, or 250k, sorry, from the price difference, you can do a lot with that.
yeah.
Considering he's probably going to lose money this week and he's got to buy next week. So yeah, like I don't hate
What
it,
about your
but
trades?
my trades, I'll be looking at going Torpiki to Tulungi, gives me about 130 odd, give or take, and Tupanua to Pierce Paul, nearly sideways, but cash gen, no boost for me.
Yeah, pretty good.
Um, just yeah, pretty simple stuff this week, really. Like, um, I could probably do a bit more. It leaves me about 100 and let me have a look. It's about 115 or 20 or so K in the bank to just probably sit on. Sorry, 112. To just sit on until next week. I'm not too sure where I want to go yet, but it's a bit of coin in the bank. If I can start to sort of save up a little bit, moving people here and there, um, might put me in a decent position to get back onto Cleary in a couple of weeks' time if I want to go about it that way. Or to try and sort my second row out. Like I don't have a couple of those like juicy front row cashies anymore. Like Hughes starting is pretty nice. But my other one's for feeder, Filiami for feeder. And I just bounce him around. Honestly, I just bounce him up and down between the two. If I need to put Fermor, if I need to put Cotter up to front row, I can move him down and I can shuffle some things around. So it's been handy to have. So I'm not in any rush to get rid of him because of the dual factor out of it. But again, I do want some of that cash gen because in my second row I've got Joe Chan not named, so things are starting to get pretty stale. And like, admittedly, neither of the two have had any price changes, and there's basically no one left at their price anymore. So I'll have to start making some money and start working things out. But um, that's kind of where it's sitting at the moment. I've got a couple of good players around, but yeah, the cash is it's not getting stale yet, but it's not far away from doing that. So I need to do some things.
I
Get a
love
bit of money in the bank.
listening to the super coach at work, and we'll dig a bit deeper into this now. We'll get into some of your questions and trades that you want an opinion on. Chris Ross first up, traded Turbo for Pappy and Laybut for Blaze. I'll trade Galvin in a couple of weeks after his suspension. Um, Turbo for Pappy and Laybut for Blaze.
Banked a lot of
Um,
money doing that,
I, it is. I'm not a
but
big fan of it, if I'm being honest. I
no, neither am I.
Tur- Turbo was average last weekend, but he was still pretty busy, and that's the thing that scares me with him is that yeah, he made some skill errors last week. It wasn't body issues or anything. Like it wasn't his body falling apart. So he just needs to fix that up, which I have no doubt Turbo can do. Um, Pappy, I'm a Pappy owner. I love what I've seen from Pappy at the moment. It obviously does free up a little bit of cash there. Now, the one I want more so want to talk about, I want to talk about Laybut at Blaze.
Mm,
Laybut is versing the Titans this weekend, and yep, he
yeah,
had a massive game first week, and the last two haven't been as great. But we're not expecting Laybut to be that consistent 80, 70 point scorer. Like that would just be a huge luxury that we're just not going to get. No one, if they own, I'm a Laybut owner, I do not think he would have got that each and every week. What I do expect him to do though is against these lower teams, is score that one, maybe two tries and look damaging and get those line breaks and stuff. If he doesn't score a 60 odd here, I can argue at getting rid of him next week, but I'll give him
mm,
this game especially to have a chance at. Then next week he's got my Eels who aren't playing great and don't have a very good back line, if I'm being honest. He couldn't score another few tries next weekend as well. So I wouldn't
yeah,
get rid of Laybut. I have him in my team and it crossed my mind for about 5 seconds until I seen the Cowboys draw. Um, they've still got a decent draw coming up. Like they've got the Titans this week, Eels, Sharks, Penrith, which is hard, and then the Dolphins. So there's still some pretty juicy sort of games coming up for the Cowboys that I wouldn't be going out of my way to do later. I feel like that's just a bit of a luxury trade, but definitely look for Blaze. But I reckon you could probably have someone, I don't know your team, Chris, but I reckon you'd have another backline in there who you could probably get rid of for Blaze.
yeah. You got to get Blaze in if you want that coin too. But I don't feel like Laybot's the one to move really. Like you want to play him for the fixtures, and this is the best fixture he's going to have all year. So um, it'd be yeah, you're doing yourself a bit of a disservice getting him out for the Titans at home on a Sunday. I definitely wouldn't want to. I'd probably wait till next week if you wanted to. But yeah, the thing is, you'll be missing a price increase and probably a price drop if things don't go your way. But yeah, you've got to have someone else, surely. The way that things have gone, and I feel like with Turbo too, like it terrifies me not having him. To be honest, man.
Yeah.
Like I'm very happy with my fullbacks, and when that like I was trying to watch snippets of that Dragons Manly game, just snippets of it when I was out, and that offload that he got in the first like what 5-10 minutes on the line, that little flick up, so cool I could just put the ball down. I think it was. I was like, "Fuck,
Ridiculous.
here we go." Like, we're about to see some magic happen. So, like, it's there. It's definitely there. But I mean, like, the whole team played like shit. It wasn't just him. Um, Not everyone can, make 5, 6 errors and score 77 like my boy Scotty. Um, so yeah, you got to cut him some slack a little bit. But it's Tom Turbo, man. It's Tom Turbo, not injured. Like, there's no reason to
Yeah.
trade him. Yeah, it's just he's priced 777 now. Like he's almost at that point where it's like he's not going to get much lower, really. He might go down towards close to 700, but I see the appeal with Pappy though. Pap's probably got a really low break even too, and I think he's not even 700k yet. So yeah, I don't love the trade of Turbo out for anyone because I feel like the week you do, you're going to get burnt by him. But Pappy, 691 with a -6 break even um, against the Broncos, so you never know. But I want to know who your other fullback is.
Be
Might be
interesting.
someone. Yeah, I don't know, man. But that's the thing, like it's such a hard position to pick because you've only got two. And there's so many ones that you want to have. Like there's so many guns to get out there. Pap looks fantastic. He's probably going to make a lot of coin, but at the expense of what? You know what I mean? You're playing
Yeah.
fullback roulette. You might have an off week, you know. But yeah,
Um, these are I'll go through the Instagram ones first. So Kaden Caden Rani, I'm gonna lock in that. Sam Hughes out, Kerr in, Moses out for Jerome Hughes. I replied to this one because then I said to him, Hughes is starting, and then he replies back saying averaging 13 though. So granted, no worries, mate, but
yeah,
that's without him starting at the moment. So Kerr is doing well, and that obviously does mean he's got some cash to be able to make that trade happen.
mm,
I don't
I don't
mind
mind it.
the Yeah, I don't mind it. Kerr's been very, very good.
Kerr's been
I don't
unbelievable.
know how he's not getting that 13 jersey because it's just looks like it's screaming for him to actually have and do his thing with.
Bench
Um,
specialist.
yeah, he's doing it like that bench roll and actually doing it well. So if you can do it, I don't mind it. The only thing is, what I'll say about this trade is if you have coin available, which to me, I reckon, if I'm guessing, he probably has about 250, maybe 300K available at the moment. He's probably done some big things last week.
Mm,
I think you should be using that cash, and I might be wrong here, and Jesse's the whiz when it comes to these things. I'd be looking more so at the back line and fullbacks to make sure you've got your guns in place there. If you've got that sort of money there, look to get someone like a Val Holmes in if you haven't already. Look to get in one of those big gun fullbacks to bring in. I don't think you need to go up that much in prop
yeah,
at the moment. Like, especially while Hughes is named to start, even if he can get you like a 40 to 50, just take that for the prop. Up front row forward is not going to win you a head to head. A fullback, a half, a 5/8, or a backline player will.
yeah.
So if you have that coin available, I'm always more willing to go up and spend high on that.
Yeah, definitely. The thing with Kerr is he's 420K now. Obviously, he's averaging like 60 something points, and he scored a couple tries too, which have really bumped it up. There was a bit of a minutes rotation thing that it sort of screwed him a little bit because Plath got binned, so he wasn't able to get out there for the second run early enough. But he looks really good. You're paying up big Vickies for him too. There's still coin to make for Hughes. You're getting Kerr in to essentially start him.
Yeah.
um, I don't mind the Moses to Hughes play in general, but yeah, it's a lot of money to be spending on a front row 3 or 4 position anyway to get an increase on. Considering he's over 400K, dual position's handy, but yeah, it just depends. It real honestly, it just depends on who else you've got. Like if you were starting Hughes as your main guy, or you were having to rely on putting a chip on him or something, then I don't mind it, to be fair, because Kurz looks really good.
Yeah.
And it doesn't seem like his output's slowing, especially in that forward pack. He's kind of the guy that's really putting the effort in. So, we spoke about him very early on too this year about what kind of output that he'd have there, and yeah, he's been very impressive. I've got him in my draft team too, so it's been pretty good. Um, but again, like those center wings and that kind of thing, they'll win you a game. Like
Yeah.
I I'm pretty keen on Joey Manu this week if I could, you know what I mean? Definitely can't do it. It's not something I can make happen this week. But he's 650K playing the Dogs, low break even, long stretch of good fixtures coming up. That kind of thing, he can have that 120 plus. Like Kerr will never get there, regardless.
Yeah.
Just doesn't have it in him. But these kind of guys do. So, you sort of chase that bit of upside around. If you've got a bit of coin there, I'd probably put it in those positions personally. But again, you'd want to have that sort of generation going in your front row if you have cheapies to work with. Um, Hughes still has money to make. I don't know how much more Kerr's going to make, to be fair, at
Mm.
that price. Like you got to be expecting like Fanua Blake levels of try output to keep a 60 plus average for playing
Yeah.
30, 40 minutes off the bench. Like it's not going to continue. Like he might only pump out 40s, that kind of thing. At that same kind of thing, you could probably go to Liam Henry if you don't have him because he's putting 50s out for 300K. So you're saving 100 in base for a very, slightly lower, but there's no tries. So
Yeah.
um, yeah. But honestly,
The
I don't mind it, to be fair. Like I think you probably get rewarded quite well with points, but yeah,
on Jerome Hughes, like I don't mind it. I would have liked it a lot more earlier when Munster wasn't around. The fact that Munster is now, um, the fact that Munster is around now, you just don't know what you're going to get from him. So I'll just be very careful. Now with that, I'll probably be more keen to get Sean Johnson in my team if I was
yeah.
him, not Jerome Hughes. But next one, Sean Halen, Kenny out, Cheese in, Tomoko out, RTS in. Your boy, the Cheese, is getting a mention.
There you go. I got off him very early on.
Yes.
Look, he got a try, I think, last week. Bumped his points up quite well. You're gonna be getting low 40s most of the time. 50 minutes it seems to be all he's putting out too. So Connor Watson on the bench doesn't help his minutes by any means. Um, Kenny, yeah, I don't know. Kenny's a bit meat and potatoes, so I wouldn't want to have him to be fair, but um, it really depends on how much money you have. And then yeah, two of us a Sheck. I feel like you sort of got to, don't you? And not at the expense of Tomoko though. I love Tomoko. I think he's great. Like,
I've got him in draft. I love him.
yeah, he's good, man. I've got him in one as well. Um, yeah, I really like Tomoko. I wouldn't be trading Tomoko to Tuivasa Sheck. I feel like that's quite sideways. Um, obviously, like it's great to watch Tuivasa Sheck to get him in. I feel like you've got to find a way outside of that to get him in your side. Definitely have him for sure, but I don't feel like it's the expense of Tomoko. I wouldn't do that personally.
Yeah, no, I agree. Um, Yon Jonathan Jong, hopefully I've pronounced that one right, brother. Bring a Sako or Hammer back in, but not sure who has to go for that to happen. So I guess his question there is, would you go Osako or Hammer?
Depends on how much money you want to have left over. um,
I'm just saying right now, I think Hammer's a better option. I'd go Hammer over
yeah,
Osako.
yeah, I probably would too. Um, Azako's base just there, and he's not slowing
Yeah.
down. Like Azako didn't slow down from last year, scoring 100 almost every week. He's doing the same this week. As far as the hammer goes, I think I saw something. He scored over 100 twice in like 70 games. So last week wasn't a very common practice for him. Even when he scores 3 tries, he doesn't hit 100. Um, Azako kind of just runs around the park, kicks a few goals, and breathes, and he's almost there. So again, like, you do pay up for it. I had a Zarko for almost all of last year, and I fucking loved it. I loved it, but it just yeah, I think with, Hammer's break even being -1, you sorta have to get him instead and just make the plan maybe down the line to swap over to a Zarko if he dips in price or they become, pretty comparative in price because by that point, there might not be anything to really worry about between the 2, and you could just go, "Oh, well, I'll just get a Zarko." 'Cause I feel like Azarko will keep it up more than Hammer will, for the longer term, but yeah, you sorta have to just chase the coin at the moment, I think. Azarko is still probably quite expensive and, um, I'm just trying to find it, but my bloody computer's just taking its sweet ass time. But yeah, for the break even, for the money, you have to go for, yeah, you have to go for the Hammer, but to be fair, between the 2 there's about a 90K difference, and depending on how Hammer goes this week with his price, they could be very, very close next week in price. So I wouldn't want to do a 1 week swap over to get him, but um,
Yeah.
yeah, something to consider because I don't think Azarko is very heavily owned. Oh, he's 9%. That's more than I expected, considering 9% is quite a lot, really, at this price. But yeah, my vote's Hammer
Yeah, I agree.
based off that.
Ryan.bell.44. He's actually doing a boost this week. Mulatalo to Talangi, Keeney to Pappy, Ilias to Hunt. Don't mind any of those options really. Like Hunt's not the
Did he?
prettiest, but he is scoring. So
Yeah. Did
um
he give you how much like coin he's got floating around with?
no, he doesn't. I like
Okay.
if again, I'd try and get to SJ if I could, but if you can't, Hunt, like no worries. I think the other two I don't mind at all. Obviously, Keeney's not even playing anymore, so if you can get
Yeah.
Keeney to Pappy, then 100%. And then
Yeah,
obviously
100%.
Mulatalo to Lungies, where he's generated a lot of his cash there. That would be freeing
Yeah,
up what
heaps.
400 or
500.
something, 450,
Yeah.
500. Yeah, like that's crazy money there. So
It's huge.
um don't mind don't mind at all. I just personally find a way if I could to get to SJ over Hunt, but if you can't, I can like Hunt it's been a
Yeah,
weird year for Supercoach so far. Hunt's actually doing well, so I
yeah.
can't say anything about it.
Yeah, well, he's averaging about 8 points more than SJ currently is. So,
Yeah.
yeah, no, fuck, you're doing quite well with that. You're getting money made in 2 positions. You're getting great points out of most of them. Yeah, at the expense of what Mulatalo, who's on a buy. No. I'm very happy with those. I'd be stoked to
Yeah.
make that.
Yep. Sam.Wiggy, Savage for Suoli'i. So Xavier Savage, I'm guessing he's still able to make money at the moment after he's trying
Yeah.
that last on the weekend. I'm guessing his BE is still minus something. Like he's not the prettiest player to own. He's not awesome to have, but while he's got a minus break even, that's the reason you got him, wasn't it? You got him to make money for you. He's going to be
Yeah.
doing that, so I wouldn't be getting off him yet.
His break even's 36. He's
Oh,
427k, so
okay.
he's made about 78 almost. Um,
Maybe I would get off him then.
I I still feel like at this point, like, yeah, you probably could. Like, I'd be pretty happy to do him for about 4, maybe a bit more. Like, you've seen, like, he's done a 43, a 71. His lowest score this year is 31. He scored 60 last week. Like, he will score tries pretty
Mm,
consistently. Good chance he might pump out a few more 60s. Like, I kept on to Cam Pereira and Will Warbrick last year for ages. I'm talking for like more than half the season. And I made a mozza out of both of them because they just continue to do it. And if you don't need to rush your way out, I don't think Suoli'i is definitely the guy to run into though. Like I don't think he's
no.
got a very super coach friendly game to be fair. Um, I don't mind him as a player, obviously, but I don't love him as a super coach option ever. And I know some people, they get all up about it and they just want to get Suoliti in the team because of his name, but I don't feel like it translates well. Someone like Savage will do a job. He'll get his line breaks, he'll get his try, and then he'll just sort of disappear for a bit. But it's fine because you sort of expect that. I feel like people expect so much out of Suoliti that they're just like, oh, why hasn't he scored 120 points? Like, because he's not that guy. He just doesn't
Yeah.
do it. Um, so
Again, scores better when he's at wing, so and he's not a winger at the moment
yeah,
for the Roosters. So, Mitch underscore Wallace, Boyd out for Edwards. Is that Tanner
Boyd,
Boyd?
Boyd.
Is that Tanner Boyd? He's just got like a jewel or something that he's able to switch around.
Is there another
Boyd out for
Boyd?
Edwards. I have an
Has to be Tanner
absolute
Boyd. There's
mental
only
blank.
one Boyd in the comp.
Well,
Yes,
if he can make that work, then 100%.
100%.
So,
How would you be doing that?
uh,
I don't know. How can you go halfback
yeah,
out unless you go him out, you've got like a Brooks or a I don't know, someone, dual half. Maybe you could probably
yeah,
get like Drew Hutchison into your halfback and then you can shuffle a wing center out. I don't know. I don't know how you do it, but if you can go Boyd out to Dylan Edwards, yeah, fucking why not?
your boy
For
Drew.
Dylan Edwards, you could probably go to like Pappy as well, and make some money out of it at least.
Yeah,
'Cause
yeah.
Dylan Edwards would be dearer than all of them.
Last one on Facebook. Ian Stewart, Sam Hughes to Willison,
No,
and Jamin Semen to Blaze Talangi. I think he did post this before team
probably
list, so
before
definitely
team
don't
list.
do that.
No.
um, Jamin Semen to Blaze, I like. 100,
Yeah,
yep. Get rid of
yeah, do
Semen.
it.
He's doing.
Yeah.
He's.
There's a
Yeah,
few there's a few that are like that. I think, yeah, like if you've got someone like Ben Turbo or Salmon or any of these guys chipping away in your center wing that are just sort of dead, not going anywhere, um, Tulagi looks like a breath of fresh air with some cash at a bottom dollar price. So you take your 120k, whatever these other flops made you, and you get rid of them, and you just hopefully can start again with someone new. It's kind of the point of it. But yeah, do that. Not
yeah.
bad.
Basically, to wrap things up, we just go through normally the top. I think 10 sold and brought in this week. Have you got that list ready for us, Jesse?
Yeah, yep. So top 10 traded out. Team Torpicky's first. So I held him last week too for this reason, just to wait out and see what happens. But yeah, he's the first to go. Second is Taylor May. Um, Surprising, but yeah, I can see it. I can see exactly why, but not my cup of tea personally. Luke Metcalf third with his broken leg. Obviously, got to go. Ben Turbo, he's number four. Look, I don't see him making too much more coin. To be fair, he's going to hover around that 300 mark, so you can get off him now if you want to. But yeah, it could just be a bit of a headache for you. Number five, Brendan Piakura, still probably 2-3 weeks away from that injury. Zach Hosking, number six. this is the thing that I said a few weeks ago about Zach Hosking, is that you have to, once as soon as he caps out, his break even is going to be
Get off.
astronomical. You have to get off. Like regardless of what you're doing that week, your hand will be forced into a Zach Hosking play. And yeah, his break even now is 98. So obviously he's not named either, so he won't lose anything. So you can keep him, but the whole point of it is to take that 100K, move him on. So really nice price increase for those that have him. But yeah, he's got to go. Jamin Salmon, number 7. Zach Labutt, number 8. Nathan Cleary, number 9. Joey Lussick, number 10. So just on a couple of them. Like I can see Salmon going. Obviously, Labutt, you play the Titans fixture and then you move him. It's
Yeah.
the best fixture at home he's going to have all season, and you're getting off 1 week early.
Yeah.
Yeah. If he doesn't do anything this week, fair enough. Break even's 92. I think at this point, you expect him to lose a bit of money, but you expect points.
Yes.
That's sort of it. And like a decent score, even if it's not 92, if you get 60, get 70 points, it's going to really balance that break even back out for him. Like he scored 103 points in round one against a very poor side. Like this Titans team is probably worse than that Dolphins team.
Yeah.
So I'd be playing the fixture and just being like, fair enough. I'll just find someone else to get Tulungi with. But yeah, that's kind of where I'd sit on that one. Nathan Cleary out this week. Um, I feel like if I had Cleary now, I'd wait 2 weeks and just get him back. But obviously, there's moves to make and things to change. So
Can't do that.
yeah, kind of both. If you got Hines as well, and yeah, Joey Lussick, number 10. So he's basically made his money too. Hasn't really performed too well in the last couple of weeks. Break even's about 50 something now, so you might start to see a bit of a drop in his price. But um,
He's
yeah,
back to 80 minutes this week as well, so
yeah,
just keep an
that's
eye
another
on that
thing
one.
too. So I feel like when we go on the trades in, it's pretty much as you would expect. To be fair, everyone we've basically
Yeah.
spoken about. Blaze Talungi is like a clear standout at the moment. Almost 20% of the trades have been with him. Kai Piss Paul's number 2. So for any of the second row fixes that you need patching up, break even a -2. Obviously, they'll be playing in monsoonal weather, so something to consider. But still, he's going to make some coin. Justin Olam, number 3. That's -40 break even. So he's 420K. Will make a pretty penny out of it too. But like I don't know, I can just never really. I can't put my eggs in that basket. I just don't. I don't really rate it. To be fair, he's had a couple good weeks. I don't see it happening forever, but who knows, man? Who knows with this Tigers team what
Oh,
they're
yeah.
doing? Hammer's number 4. Had to do Hammer last week.
Yep.
That was the point. Make yourself 90K instantly. So yeah, still not too late. Still gonna make a shit ton, but yeah, it would have been nice to get that 90K last week. So it's a bit unfortunate. Jackson Ford, number 5. So he obviously had a huge game. Scored what 104. He's actually been chipping
Yeah.
away quite well too with his 50s, but in 1% of teams, 17 break even. So it's a big set of points chasing in that one. Um, because outside of that game, he's been actually performing basically under what he's priced at. So yeah, yeah, hopefully it doesn't burn anyone with that one. Jack Bostock, number 6. Yeah, turning out to be a premium cashy. This guy, he's going to make some more money for a fair bit longer too. So he's made 90K. Again, it's still not too late. They're playing the Tigers this week, so definitely consider it. Pappy's number 7. We spoke about Pappy a couple minutes ago, so yeah, not bad, but at the expense of who, you know what I mean? It's so hard to pick someone to drop. Tom Flegler, number 8. Sean Johnson, number 9. Tom Dearden, number 10. So, yeah, Flegler's looking like a premium asset in the front rows, still 530K. So, not too bad, really, for the 80 points that he put out last week and the 70 the week before, whatever it was. SJ in number 9, there's a really nice out with a good fixture and decent price, 660 now. And then Tom Dearden. So, Dearden said to me, I think Dearden's been the standout 5'8" as far as any of them go, next to Metcalf, who's dead now with his leg. But
Listen to
um,
your own advice.
yeah, shocker. Oh, well.
But as you
Uh,
said, it pretty much all sort of makes sense. Both of those
yeah,
lists, I feel
no,
like at the moment. So,
definitely.
credit to everyone out there. You're all getting it pretty right. We can't say much about that. Um, but yeah, I think that's pretty much all we've got time for. Like one message I'll finally say, like you just got to get Blaze Talungi in, find a way, make it happen. And just be careful with getting rid of, say, either May or Labour. At the moment, seems like the big options. I just tread carefully with those two. Even
Yeah,
trying to get Olam in, I agree there with Jesse. Just I don't see Olam as a really big play. But who knows?
quick cash grab, not the
yeah,
worst.
yeah,
And with like the lay button May trades out to Tulungi, like that'll be the week that they explode. You know what I mean? Like these are the guys that will be quiet, massive. They're not gonna put your 50s and 60s out most of the time. They'll probably just explode one week and go missing one week. But yeah, you bank a bit of coin, but yeah, you gotta wear it when they go big. So
yeah.
and
You
brag when
do.
they do shit and say your master stroke got off him when you right before he dipped. So yeah,
Talking
whatever suits
about
you, buddy.
talking about bragging, I hope I don't have to deal with another weekend of Jesse bragging about all these Cowboys players scoring nothing but
Oh
triple figures. So
fuck.
I am very, very nervous. But I will keep looking at my trades, guys. You'll get our final team list on Thursday. Once again, thank you all for tuning in. Please make sure you hit that like, subscribe button, share it around, guys. Please help us get to that 1K mark on YouTube. That is definitely our goal still. We want to achieve it throughout this year. So please share it amongst your friends, share it amongst your family, get everyone involved. Just hit that subscribe button. It goes a long way to help and support the page. We'll be back tomorrow night, the Wednesday live show. Talking, there is a lot to talk about. I feel like the episode is going to go off. So that is on both YouTube and Facebook Live. So make sure you go ahead and watch that one. There'll be a post out this morning or lunchtime when you're listening to this, when the time is and the topics. But yeah, we'll see you all then. Thank you. Good luck to super coaches out there. I feel like we're starting to get into a bit of a role now. We're starting to get things right. I feel like I'm just going backwards, but the champ is coming and I am shit scared.
Nah, you're flying, mate. You're doing well. Better than me.